just going to say this. You know what I'd like? I'd like one Patriot fan to text in from from a Boston area code. That's what I'd like. Not these bandwagon fans, the rest of the country around here. Get a Boston area code to call in here. If you're a true Bostonite, you have a Boston area code. Nice trying in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that guys, everybody is very familiar with all the PED issues of the Seattle Seahawks. However, none of the PED
He's right about
issues
that. I mean,
happened
they're all
since
drug users in
2013.
Seattle anyway, but yes.
But that's 2 years removed. And that's not, and if by chance it's not legal in the NFL, however, but if our players were smoking weed in Seattle, guess what? It's freaking legal.
Yeah, I mean, I think weed should be legal. That's not the point of this.
Yeah.
The point is the guy's doing spice. They're obviously trying to cover it up, and you're having a party at Gronkowski's house the week before you have a game in the playoffs, the second round of the playoffs. It's like, the Patriots organization has just gotten out of control, and more importantly, all eyes are on them. The NFL, I mean, they were bugging their stadium earlier this year to find out if they were, they were sweeping the stadium for bugs to find out if they were bugging opposing players' locker rooms. The NFL is looking for the Patriots. You know why? Because they know they did something. Yes. That's why. Guess what? You know who cops watch? Criminals. That's not shocking. But before I got sober, I used to think, God, the cops are always watching me. Yeah, because I sold a bunch of pills. That's why. It's not rocket science. You know why the NFL's watching them? Because they're cheaters, and they're always in trouble. And they get away with it because they're the New England Patriots, and they've continued to do well. Well, guess what? You know why they continue to do well? Because everything gets swept under the rug, just like this. Why isn't there a police report? Why haven't we seen information about exactly what happened? Why is none of this coming out? Because the police washed it under the rug. Yeah, exactly. If this was any other team, we'd have the police officer talking about what happened.
Exactly. Every time something happens on any other team aside from maybe Dallas, the team is the first to be in front of it. Derek Coleman falling asleep in his car. Immediately, it's on Seattle thing, and he's just a relatively insignificant fullback who barely touches the ball. Okay? So, guys, don't give me that stuff like, oh, the media's blowing this out of proportion. If the media was blowing this out of proportion, they would have had it 2 days ago. So, shut up. All right. So, let's talk about Lawrence Phillips and how everybody said the media has blown that out of proportion. All right. Lawrence Phillips was recently found dead. D-E-A-D. Or, for those who can't spell, D-E-D. Inside of his own cell this morning approximately last night, around midnight. He was pronounced dead at 1:30 a.m. in what is suspected to be a suicide. All right. Now, what a lot of people are unaware of is that on April 12, 2015, Phillips' cellmate, Damian Saward, the cousin of former USC Trojan and NFL wide receiver R.J. Saward, it's amazing, they all go to prison together, was found dead in a cell the two men shared. Saward was serving a sentence of 82 to life for a murder conviction and was choked to death. And Phillips was regarded as the prime suspect in the case, as he was the only person in the cell. So, on September 1st, 2015, Phillips was charged with first-degree murder in connection with Saward's death, and on November 9th, 2015, the prosecutor was granted a motion to reconsider whether to seek the death penalty. It looked as if Phillips was going to be essentially put to death for his crimes. So, before anybody sheds a tear for Lawrence Phillips, shed a tear for the life that he wasted instead of the man that he is, because there is not much to be considered for the man that he is. Matt, what do you have to say?
I mean, this, I've heard some things come out. Maybe it wasn't. You never know if this was suicide or not. But the reality is that was cracking him. If you've read some of these letters he's written, he wrote a letter on March 15th from the USA Today. I mean, where he told, I think it was his mother he was writing to, he said, my anger grows daily as I've become fed up with prison. I feel it is near bursting and will result in my death or the death of someone else. And later, He said, "These people are obviously working against me with no regard to the law and will never let me leave prison alive." So he's getting paranoid. That can crack people up. Obviously, he wanted to be out of there. There's no adjusting to that kind of life. That's got to be hard. And he just, right, if you're not accepting it, it's eventually going to eat you alive. And whether he got killed or he killed himself, he was clearly, and this is in March of 2015. So he clearly has kind of, was heading towards that area, that edge there. He was losing it.
Well, people are wondering what if I got 2 texts. What was he in prison for? So you know that on August 21st, 2005, Phillips was arrested for assault after allegedly driving a car into 3 teenagers following a dispute with the teens during a pickup football game in Los Angeles, California. And at the time of the arrest, Phillips was also wanted by the San Diego Police Department in connection with 2 alleged domestic abuse incidences involving a former girlfriend who claimed that Phillips had choked her to the point of unconsciousness.
It was domestic violence he had a problem with, yeah.
So, okay, he runs over teenagers, 3 of them. I just get this like bad movie image of this car coming up over the football field and like a bunch of teenagers running with Lawrence Phillips sitting behind there mowing them over.
He just had an anger problem. That's
you telling me?
Yeah.
Yeah. In 2006, Phillips was ordered to stand trial on charges of a felony assault with a deadly weapon stemming from the running the kids over. And on October 10th, 2006, he was found guilty of 7 accounts. So,
God, 31 years, man. This is just not, dude. I don't know about you, and I see this a lot. I'm going to get on it. I'm going to get on a soapbox here real fast. Just why would over something so stupid of letting your anger get to you, something like that you don't. Yeah, you're in your car. I'm going to teach them a lesson or whatever. 31 years in prison. I know someone that robbed a 7-Eleven with a fake gun and got 12 years. That just don't be stupid. That's it. They're not messing around. When you're an adult, don't be stupid. There's just so many other things you can do. To do something like this that seems absolutely the most retarded thing you could do, to get 30 years. The guy had an anger problem, obviously. Dude, do something. Smoke some weed, something.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Is like, there's not a whole lot here that makes a lot of sense at all. I'm struggling with every aspect of what we have here, and it seems to me like
he needed help and he didn't get it.
Yeah, well, he needed a lot more than help. I honestly, I'm not a person who's typically for the death penalty. I'm really not. However, this guy was essentially going to spend the rest of his life in prison, and he probably should. He was a menace to society. Wow, I actually use that in a term.
Hey, a lot of people, those things can change. There's many, many places where people can go and everything in their life can change and they can become a totally different person. It's just a matter of having the right outreach and getting to these people when you start to see the signs of this kind of stuff happening. Not everyone's going to want it. Not everyone's going to take it, but it should be available to everyone. And this is just another example of I think, a way that society let this guy down and let the other people that he hurt down. It's our responsibility as a society to try and help these people.
Yeah, well, it could be very difficult to help somebody who is ready to punch you in the face. I remember once I used the analogy when I was working with kids that were. I used to work with kids, some of which have had even similar rap sheets to Lawrence Phillips. I used to work with juveniles who were the worst of worst cases, and when I worked with these kids, one of the things that I realized that 9/10 of them were still capable of rehabilitation. However, you would get that 10% who have already decided that they're not going to be rehabilitated, and they're kind of like a wounded animal. That if you try to help them, it's only going to hurt you. I don't know how many times I've had everything from, like, for instance, and I was lucky. I was able to get out of the situation, but the kid was basically escaping from a juvenile halfway house. You're on a house arrest. You're not allowed to leave. He was leaving. I was trying to talk the kid back. He was saying no. Next thing I know, I'm in a really bad area of town real quick because these kids know where the bad area of town is in a very short period of time. And the kid was mouthing off to a couple of guys who were on a back porch from like an alleyway sort of thing. And these two guys, both of them came up to him and just basically said, "What?" And I was like, "Oh God, please no, don't let this happen." One of them pulled a knife, and I was quick. I'm former special, specially trained by the military, attached to
Olympics,
attached to a special forces unit, not actually special forces. Okay, I'm not an SF guy, but I was quick, and I kicked the guy's knee so hard that it actually hyperextended towards ACL, PCL, MCL, all of it. He could scratch his nuts with his toes, right? And his friend ran off after that. And get this, I ended up having to spend the next 6 hours in the police station basically repeating my story about what happened over and over and over again to the police, as far as like making sure that my story was credible, because they were wondering if it was a drug deal gone bad, even though I worked at the facility and they've even seen me before. It was just a whole big mess. And that's what I mean. Sometimes you can help these kids or people, but sometimes you just can't. They're a wounded animal, and they're going to tear you apart even trying. In those cases, I consider euthanasia. To me, I don't see there's a whole lot else going for that person other than to be put down like the suffering dog that they are. I guess that's pretty harsh, huh?
Yeah, you're a horrible person.
I probably am.
No, you definitely are.
Well, in a few moments, we're going to have the ladies on with us, and they're going to be talking to us about, again, they're going to be talking to us about all the things that are going on inside the NFL with all the coaching changes and trying to give us all the lowdowns and up-to-date information with this coaching carousel that's on. But for now, we go to break. You're listening to Jock Journal Radio.
Finally, can we take a moment and stop listening to these idiots long enough to get the Cars for Kids jungle stuck in my head?
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Also on the web at carsforkids.com. That's Cars with a K. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a free vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Are you looking for the web's best sports news? Visit jockjournal.com. Sports media has lost its touch. It seems that journalists are scared to report what they see, in fear of losing access to the teams they cover. At jockjournal.com, you get inside information on the entire NFL community without all the politics or fears other writers have. That's jockjournal.com. When you need the NFL sports news, information, opinions, fantasy football, or discussions, there is only one place to go, and it's jockjournal.com.
You are listening to Jock Journal Radio. News, opinion, and discussion for all you jock stars.
Support for this show comes from Material. Material is a simple and intuitive e-commerce platform that lets you get your online store started without paying a dime. That's right. No ads, no setup costs, no transaction fees. Experience a fresh and easy new way to sell online by signing up at material.com today.
Okay, we're back. I had to surf porn and post my pics on an adult website.
Oh, welcome back, all you jock stars out there in Radio Land. I'm so excited that you are here. In a few moments, the ladies will be calling in and we'll be doing the War Room, as it is that time again. So before we bring them on and bring them in fully, I want to also say tomorrow night, I know we've talked about saying we were going to talk about it yesterday and we were going to talk about it today, but we're going to have to push the games for the American or all the divisional conference games are going to have to wait until tomorrow and the next day, where we're going to try to do 2 apiece at that point. and make it all happen.